So the question that I always ask, and I've got to figure out how to not ask it anymore. Like, seriously, the question that I tend to ask this time every year is, why does it feel like total chaos in the world of business, finance, tax strategy? Of course, all that kind of ties right into your personal life.
Right.
You're trying to like, oh my gosh, I gotta figure out shipping dates. If I'm going to order some gift for my, which by the way, don't let me forget to do that today. Yeah. But you're ordering like a gift for Christmas and you got to make sure it gets in. Like literally, I wonder, and I feel like I can speak to many clients, but what's interesting is like, I feel like the many clients that I talk to that have a similar struggle where it's like, man, is there anything I can do from a taxable standpoint to clean up the challenges I'm going to have from a tax liability? Is there anything I can do for my business? This question seems to kind of like be a common theme late in the year for wealthy individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like you think, and like you think being wealthy or having success in a business or on the right path, it's almost like a subtle, like you kind of want to believe that you've earned the right to not have to like go through a grind in a season where you feel like you shouldn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost what you're sacrificing by not getting to it. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it. What you're sacrificing by not addressing some of these things that we're going to talk about today ends up being the thing that keeps you at work, working hard, trying to stay locked in, and all of a sudden the time passes by, and here you are every year. Am I the only one that feels this way?
No, no. I mean, like, it sounds like you're just like you're in my head right now, because I do the same thing too, right? You're trying to figure out, okay, there's this deadline that is a concrete deadline, right? December 31st. Some transactions, some accounts have to be established at this time frame. So, you have these thoughts, like you said, these thoughts in your head that, oh, this would be a great idea. This could totally help me out. But then life happens, and there's another emergency, another fire you have to put out, another deal that hopefully closes in time, and then all of a sudden it's like we're here in November, December, and half of that list isn't completed yet, but the other half that we need to address, we're scrambling to try to put it together. And I think some of it has to do with even the first mistake we're talking about is not beginning with the end in mind, right? So if we started, which is, I'd say, mistake number one that wealthy individuals should avoid in 2026,
Mm-hmm.
is if you have an end in mind of the way I want 2026 to look like, I want these things, this has to happen, that has to happen, then if you have that idea and that goal in place immediately to start the year, and you actually keep going back and looking at it, then all the moves and your thought kind of just goes towards that goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think some people have the end in mind starting in December,
Mm-hmm.
right? December, oh my gosh, it's here.
Yeah.
Everything I wanted to do for the year, I've got to accomplish it right now. When if you had started the year with that goal in place, then hopefully you would have had 12 months to kind of put together that plan.
I think you're right. I think there's probably a good majority of individuals out there that look, if and many of our clients are this way. They're making a great living, right? They're 6-figure plus, some even above that, and which means the demand for their skills, the demand for their time is high, right? And so they're making a lot of money, but they've lost a lot of time. And what little time they do have to escape from that which is generating revenue is like, I just need to focus on my family. And so what's crazy is this planning concept and ensuring that you actually know what you're going to do when you start the year in every area of your financial life to support these goals. And we're talking predominantly in the world of these wealthy individuals, we're talking about taxes, right? How to address a strategy so you don't lose the opportunity this late in the year. And I think these individuals, like sometimes they don't have a plan at all. like you're talking about. And then sometimes maybe they have thought about what they would like to do different. These are a lot of times visionary people that have big dreams and big ambitions, but then the pull and the drawdown on their time is so significant that they just can't find the time to go back there, right? And it to me when I think about it, it's like sometimes I drive into work and I'm like driving in, it's early, you're putting a lot of time in, you're grinding, you're trying to do your best, and you're thinking like literally I'm not taking enough time to think through things that I should be doing for my own financial life to the extent that I am grinding here to cover the mistakes I'm making. And it's like, I wonder how much time I'm working extra just because I didn't do some of the small things correct that now I'm having to give to the government that otherwise I could have like took 2 weeks off and just planned for this and made the same amount of money at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense.
So,
Total sense.
So yeah, I think you're right. I think this concept of like have the end in mind is awesome. I think it's a great statement. How does that actually happen though? Like, I mean, like how does it happen? If someone's asking us that question.
How do you have the end in mind? Well, I think if we're looking like a actual step-by-step process behind it, I think it takes some real time to really think, remove the noise out the way and really start thinking about, if we fast forward 12 months from now, what are some of the things, and we'll just talk about it on a financial level, what are some of the things financially that I want to celebrate 12 months from now? Whether that is, saving X amount of dollars, or, okay, my tax liability for 2025 was whatever, 50 grand, 60 grand, 75 grand. I don't want the same mistake I don't want that same thing to happen next year. So I want my tax liability to be 50 grand, whatever. Having clear cut, a vision of where you want to be December 31st, and then backtrack, reverse engineer it and say, okay, well, let me just take it quarter by quarter. I kind of think about things quarter by quarter. So if I want to save X amount of dollars, well, I need to stay on track. I need to save this amount of money by March, and then start thinking about, okay, what things do I need to do? What do I need to eliminate? How much do I need to earn? How much do I need to sell? How much, depending if you're a business owner, what do I need to do in order to make sure that I'm on track that first quarter? And I think it's just really having that tough conversation with yourself of just saying, okay, this is where I want to be, and really put some tangible, factual numbers behind it. And it's not this pie in the sky. It's an actual number that you want to get to.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first thing you want to do is actually list out exactly what you want to do, and then reverse engineer it.
So I have an interesting question about that. I think many individuals, and I'm speaking for myself as if I'm not in this industry. Like questions I asked before I knew what I know, type of thing. I think a lot of times the individual who is young, has a family, very in tune with what's available as far as just like general knowledge about finance on YouTube, right? They kind of have that idea. I need to fund my Roth. I need to get the match contribution, some of those basics. I think when you go to this is crazy. Because I think it's true. When you flop over or switch, when you switch over to the high net worth individual, the high income earner, the individual that is sitting and has done super well, they're sitting with 2 million, 3 million, 5 million plus. You have, maybe they don't have the money yet, but they're making, 300, 400, 500, a million a year in income. When you think about those situations, those people obviously have, you would think anyway, a high, intellect and the ability to process, the ability to understand different concepts and stuff. I think their challenge is, or when they think about their plan, it's not about all the things they need to do. I think their question is what do I need to do just to not be this? Like it's almost like a reverse question. Okay, like you're saying you need to think about where you want to be. They're saying, I don't know what to do. I just don't want to be here. And so like the question is, I'm thinking of a few examples, okay?
Yeah, give me an example.
Okay, so like meeting with two guys this week, right? And one of them's a very close friend. One of them is also very successful, but just a general client. We're meeting and we're doing a projection, right? It's mid-December, okay? We're doing projections on taxes and just like, well, we got 2 weeks. What else, what can we do, right? Last minute. We're talking estimated tax liabilities are significant, right? They're well in six-figure, federal tax and state tax as far as like total responsibility to pay. And so when they ask the question, what does next year look like? I think their answer is not where do I want to. It's where do I want to be, but the answer is I
I
just
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
be
be
here.
here.
Right.
Right? Does that make
Yeah, it
sense?
makes total sense.
Instead of like they're not thinking about how much how much money I want to save and how much money I want to have. They're thinking, how do I just not pay this, and how do I
Yeah.
get this back? And like it's almost a reverse to that.
Yeah.
Because the process in which you got to take to get there is totally different, right? It's beyond just the basic, the simple, the fundamental process of creating wealth. This is way different. But then I give you just another thing here why it's important to have, like your statement, why it's important to have the end in mind. There are little basic small things that everybody should be doing that they don't do, and it blows my mind because it has nothing to do with the knowledge. Like people know,
Mm-hmm.
but I was meeting with a client of mine yesterday. Literally, his wife just got a job with basically she is a I better be careful. I don't know if I can say this out loud. I won't say a name, but you could probably reference. She's a personal administrator and secretary for the second wealthiest man in Georgia.
Okay.
Okay, so you probably think, who? Okay, so I'm talking to him, and I'm like, they obviously owe a lot of taxes, right? It's first year she's made the type of money she's made, this type of thing. And I'm like, why have you not max funded your 401k yet? Like, clearly they have the money
Right.
to do it. And, well, we just, hadn't done it yet. And I'm like, okay. So I just ran the numbers real quick. And I'm like, you realize that you can put $15,000 more in your 401k. The cost for you to do that, the net cost for you to do that is like 8,800, $9,000. Just because otherwise the cost of tax to receive the money net is like that significant. It's like, 37% plus some additional extra tax because of their income. So it's like, why be here? And you don't have to be when you have the end in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's and I think there's some, because we've been doing this for so long, it sounds like natural to us, like second nature. Like, why aren't you doing that? But I think on the other side of the table, there's just so many different options and so many different directions that people get lost and confused. Like when you ask them that question about why didn't you max fund the IRA 401k, it's like, yeah, I know that. Probably he's saying, yeah, that makes sense. I knew we should do that, but we're probably doing something else, right? There's probably something else that we should be doing, right? And it's almost so simple that you just disregard it
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
true.
so simple, right?
Mhm.
So there's got to be something else besides that.
Yeah.
Something more impactful than that.
It is. You're exactly right. It's like not eating the donuts. It's that simple to become healthy. You brought in donuts. I could make a simple decision. Just don't eat them. That's actually a very complex question.
But they're good for
That's
you.
a very complicated.
Yeah, no, it's a challenge, right? I mean, it's a challenge to think about the end in mind,
And be able to articulate
and be
it. Yeah.
articulated, and you may have it in your head, but I always say, put pen to paper, and actually like, take some time to really carve out whether it's I want to be at a certain point, or like you said, I don't want to be at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
However you want to frame it, take pen and paper. And I'm because of your wife Amy, she mentioned the book, The Sabbath. I think it's called The Sabbath Way.
Yeah.
So I'm starting reading that. I'm starting to read it. I'm like,
Is it good?
50, 60 pages in. Oh yeah, it's really good.
Is
It's
it?
really good. But the whole idea of the Sabbath, what I thought was an idea of just to take a day and just relax. Do nothing, just honor the Lord and just relax. But the way this author writes it is, well, there's not one perfect way. Everyone can kind of do the Sabbath their own way.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is a time to just sit back and just reflect and check in on yourself. And so if you're having a bad week, ponder on that. Like, why am I having a bad week? If I'm having a great week, ponder on that. Why am I having a great week? Spend time fellowship. go hiking, do things that you like to do to just to realign yourself that you're human, right?
Mm-hmm.
I bring that all up because during that time, and if you do it religiously on a weekly basis, these questions like, okay, I had a good week. Did I whatever I did this week, does that support my goal for this year?
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't, then what do I need to do next week to support the goal?
Mm-hmm.
If I did something that does support the goal, awesome. Pat yourself on the back. Let's make sure I do it again next week. Right. So it doesn't have to be a whole day where you're looking at your budget and your finances and it becomes no longer a Sabbath because you're not relaxing. Right. But it takes, 30 minutes. Right. And if you're married, do it over coffee with your spouse, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of think about, okay, I know it's early. I know it's only January 10th, but for these last 2 weeks, have we been on track with what we said where we want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, what do we need to do over the next, week, right? Don't delay it. What do you need to do this week to get back on track?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you check in on yourself and check in on your plan consistently, you'll have a better success of getting to where you want to be.
There's so much truth in what you just said. I mean, and really just in every area of life.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter if it's spiritual, physical, financial. Like obviously, with what we believe this concept of we need to die daily, right? Which means we need to renew our minds and basically wake up every day, almost like what you're talking about with the Sabbath, with just this. Okay, what do I need to do today? What's my focus today? What's my mission? And does it match my long-term vision for my life type of thing? When you have these conversations like you're talking about, like, maybe you're single, maybe you're married, and we're thinking about 2026. Look, I'm a big goals guy. I always said it, I think it's one of my greatest skill sets is to quickly let go of yesterday and wake up today with a whole new, like, I can accomplish the world type of mentality. Which is like you set yourself up for failure every day. I don't know why. Like any type of project that I ever do, it's always underestimated, and it always takes a lot more time. And at the end of every Saturday or Sunday, Amy's like, I didn't get it done. She's like, why did you expect to? It never happens. But anyway, at some point with this whole financial thing. Yeah, like you work every day of your life, okay? As far as like, I'm theoretically, you work, 5 days a week, most people. You trade in a lot of time of your life for this whole idea that you need to generate income and provide for yourself, but then also try to escape a little bit of weight for your future. There comes a point in time you got to have accountability, and you got to have
Right.
someone that can think like you can't think. I give you, we do this in every area of our life, right? I mean, this whole you got to get past it, even if you're a high income earner and you haven't hired a financial planner, like we offer services here where, yes, we can manage money. We also offer planning services where we just do planning. And then we also offer a combined package where you could do both. And the reality, the reason we do that is because we believe that planning really is the essence and the foundation of all things finance. It's how you make the right decision in all areas of your life. Well, most people pay to free up their time, and the wealthier they become, the more time they're demanded in every area of their life, they start to buy back their time,
All right.
right? You buy back not having to cut your grass or not having to keep up with the landscaping, right? And we sometimes we buy back some getting up a little bit early to make our own coffee, and we go to Starbucks on the way. I don't, but like that's what some people do, and so it's like this is the one area that you can actually buy back your time and yet financially be re-incentivized for it. Like I look at some of these decisions that we help guide individuals through, and it's like when you look at it and you look at maybe the cost of planning, and then you look at just the initial, hey, this is what we need to do, we need to change, we need to tweak this. It's like, oh my gosh, they've like compensated themselves just by walking through the door.
Yeah.
Forget about the cost of the fee. Think about just from a plan, not performance, nothing else. Just the value add from making the right decisions. and the things that you don't know that, an industry like ours, and not every obviously firm is the same, but like, people that are really worried about all areas finance.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah, I mean that's where the true value comes into play, right? Just being able to, that's why I love what we do in our planning process with our clients, because we can literally look back and say, okay, these are all the things that we've accomplished this year, right? And because of how comprehensive our work and our services are, it really is a game changer for, if not all of our clients, right? Because they can literally see all the progress that they're making, and sometimes they come in to our doors the first time with, these pain points that they've tried to solve on their own for years, and they've made some um, progress,
Hmm.
but not as much as they want to, right? Or not as much as they thought they would have. Kind of like your projects on Saturday, right? You try to do it, but you don't. And then once you find that partner that really helps you with that,
Hmm.
even if it's just, I mean, even if it's just for, just take you for example. If someone said, Andrew, you definitely can't do this in a 10-hour day. Everything you want to do, you can't do it in 10 hours. But I will show you how to maximize 7.
Hmm.
So everything you were going to do in 10, I can make you do it in 7, and now you have 3 more hours to spend with your boys, Amy and Mama.
Yeah.
Just that,
Or be
right?
like, you do it in 7. I'm just going to go hang out, do my Sabbath.
um, but yeah, I mean, like it's sometimes it is, right? How much, I know some of our staff members kind of hate this, but like we do a lot of the heavy lifting,
Hmm.
right? So sometimes the plan that we put together is, no, we just tell you what to do, and we're going to execute it for you.
Yeah. Right.
So you don't even have to. Not only are you buying back your time,
Yes. Turnkey.
it's turnkey.
100%.
And that it's so valuable. It's so valuable to know that, uh, when you have that end in mind and you start to see the progress, and it doesn't take long to see progress,
Hmm.
right? If you really look at it, it doesn't take long to see progress. It just gets you motivated.
Yeah.
It gets you so motivated to keep moving forward.
So thinking about next year, 2026, we we everybody, they may have some struggle like trying to figure out where they want to be, right? So I want to give some examples,
Okay.
okay? Um, what's also important to know is, yes, you want to know where you're headed and where you want to be. You also need to know where you're starting and kind of that starting line. And so we're ending 2025, starting 2026, kind of an interesting, world that we're living in many different ways. And one of those is just like an interest rate. I think it's going to be a huge question that so many individuals and families and even businesses are going to be asking next year, which is, if I have uh, loaned any type of money over the past or have taken a loan over the past few years, it's likely that my rate on that loan is significantly more than what it will be going into 26. I've looked at some different, rate projections. This goes for even me as well. You look at some of these rate projections for 26 and 27. I mean, they're talking as low as maybe, and who knows, right? We'll see. But we're talking about the potential to break through below that 5% and get into like mid fours.
That's
Well,
huge.
if you look at what lending rates were just a few years ago, I mean, it was got as high as like 7.5, 8% for some people. That's a significant range, right? So I think a big question is, what do I do? When do I do it? What's the right time? What am I trying to accomplish by maybe doing a refi, right? I think it's going to be a huge question
Mm-hmm.
that people ask. And so I think you need to know that going through the start of the year, because this may be part of your goal for 2026 is to, in general, increase net cash flow. One of the goals, one of the items that you can do to do that would be to decrease
Interest rate.
liabilities
Yeah.
and interest rate payments. So, um, I think you're coming out of a year where interest rates are dropping. That's a variable that must be considered to help support your goals. You're also coming out of the year where the markets have done well. Okay, another strong year in equities. We're in um, an interesting, I think, position looking out to next year. We've now wrapped up obviously the first full completion of the presidency and his first year in office in the administration that we have. moving into next year, hopefully we see some continued traction and opportunity. Obviously, there's a lot of mixed goods out there when it comes to, the tech world and new, AI technology and people getting laid off and stuff. So I think that variable is interesting. I think also the expectation of just normal lifestyle costs for people. I think that has to be really weighed out. I think there's been a lot of individuals like maybe even us and clients that are asking the question, when are the cost of goods going to come down? They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. Like, that doesn't happen. The feds don't control that. Like, basic economics, like supply and demand.
Yep.
I think people think that by interest rates dropping, there's this concept that by default, interest rates fall, mortgage rates fall, the cost of goods in the grocery store should equally like transition down. It's just not it doesn't work that way. Right. So as long as demand is relevant, and supply is sufficient for the demand, you're not going to see, any type of adjustment on pricing. Now, if pricing, you got to, always be careful what you ask for, right? So when you really want prices to drop, what you're begging for is something you may not actually want, which is instability in pricing is oftentimes a result of either high inflation or low inflation. When you see low inflation drop significantly, it's also equivalent to, poor economic times. Therefore, you have greater supply, lower demand. You got to increase the demand by, the Fed's perspective is pushing money into the economy. So
to get back to where we are now.
Yeah, right. So all these things, like your starting point matters, right? Creating your budget, figuring out what is it going to cost. Like this whole, I did something this year and here over the last few months, I decided to like literally do an accounting process for all of our spending for 2025. My budget was wrong.
How far off were you?
Oh, actually wasn't. It actually wasn't that bad. Most of our spending, and this is not, I'm not justifying it, okay? I'm not justifying it. Most of our spending actually was transitional in nature because of us moving houses.
Okay.
We got new furniture. We had a remodel project for Mall downstairs, stuff like that. We were off on, eating. Like we've done really well. We don't eat out a ton. But our grocery bill is almost $30,000.
Ooh.
Did you hear that?
I know. I heard that.
30,000.
I try not to hear that again. That's a lot of food.
That's a lot of food. And people that hear that, they're like, what? Like, I know. The reality is, though, I'm not kidding. You pull into my house on Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh, I know.
It looks like a Toyota Tundra dealership lot. I'm like, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, where did they come from?
Yeah.
Which is, it's, I love it. And, if the cost of food is what requires them to be at our house, then so be it. Like, we'll feed the heck out of them. But they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Yeah. Yeah. And your boys are just growing, right? So their friends are growing as well. So, but that's good that you did that audit though, because now if you take the approach of, okay, well, all right, 30,000, it is what it is. This is where we are in 25. I don't want to be there 26. So what do we need to do?
Right? Yeah,
right. Or at least, okay, well, if 30,000 is the number, at least I know the reality of the fact is my friends' boys aren't going away. They're staying here.
Yeah.
Right. So at least you can come in with the realization that, all right, we're just going to have to, if you look back at the end of next year and you're at 30,000, then you're like, all right, we stayed within budget. Or if you're like, all right, we need to cut this down from 30,000 to 25,000, right? At least like you're right, you know where you are. You have a good starting point, reference point to work with. You have a benchmark to kind of compare yourself to. Yeah, I mean that's all. That's all
really that's how you have to think.
Yeah.
So think about the amount of families that this is just coming to my mind because we've been here. Think about the amount of families that do travel sports, right? Their cost out of pocket because of travel sports for eating out may be enormous. And so they look at it and they say, okay, we're spending $15,000 a year eating out. Like, not fancy.
Yeah. No.
Now the new, stop at Zaxby's or Chick-fil-A or whatever is, for a family of four is like 50, $60. So you look at that over a year's time and they're like, we've got to cut that. Well, that's may not be the issue,
Right.
right? The issue in your cost of eating out, the issue in why you don't have time to prepare meals, the issue, like it could be back over here with this source, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying it's like a bad thing to do. I'm just saying like when you really analyze the outflow, like I always say, like just pause for a moment and remember, you work literally 52 weeks a year, maybe 50 for some people that get vacation, right? 50 weeks a year, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, not including any type of brain time when you go home that's still stuck on your work. The least you can do is have enough respect for your own self and your ability to create the cash flow, to be mindful as to where it's going.
Yeah.
Because when you really like wrap your mind around the fact that I work so hard and 10% of my net income, was Taco Bell and Chick-fil-A. Like, that's like, what? For what? I like Taco Bell. That's the reason why. But
and then you support, local gyms because of that, right?
that you can't go to.
No, you're right. You're right. That's such a great point. That is such a great point. Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it's the numbers speak more volumes when you actually dig deeper into it, right? It's not the Taco Bell or whatever Chick-fil-A. It's in that example you gave. It's the traveling sports, right? You remove traveling sports, you don't have the outflow of all the the eating out. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a crucial point of the year for everyone to really kind of take a step back and look and see, okay, do I have a plan? 2026 is around the corner, literally around the corner. What's my game plan to make sure that 26 is as productive as I'm respecting my time, I'm respecting my cash flow, I'm being a good steward of my money, so that 12 months from now, because as fast as this year went, I believe that next year is going to go even faster. And you're going to sit back and have the same conversation with yourself saying, I wish I did this. I wish I did. Yeah. And you can't get back time.
No.
You look back at, the things that you sacrificed when you were, also you sacrificed, the goals you had in your mind at 20, right? Fast food, going out, partying, whatever it is that you've paid that lifestyle for. Imagine if you were diligent enough and just put that money in the market.
Yeah. Why would I want to imagine that now?
The compounding effect, right?
The
compounding effect of just making good decisions today for the life that you want in the future. I mean, you can't get that time back. You're not going to be able to get 2025 back.
Right. So don't waste 2026.
So don't waste 2026.
Yeah. And once again, like, have a partnership that can work through all the elements of a plan. When we think planning here at Asset Management Group, what we're thinking, kind of give you this roadmap. We're thinking, hey, let's start with, what we oftentimes call base facts. Base facts essentially is, what is everything you're doing now? We have to get that drawn out, okay? So don't worry about the change yet. Figure out exactly what you're doing that's creating the results you don't want. Lay it out, the budget, the income, the taxes, the withholdings, how much you're funding in your retirement account. Like, get it all laid out, right? Now you know the facts about what you're doing financially. And sometimes there's some rawness to that, which is good. Like, quit being too prideful to accept the reality of how you're handling your own money as a man, as a woman, whatever, right? So get it all out, your debt, everything. And then from there, you put that off to the side and you go to a very narrow topic, which is just cash flow, okay? How much income are we generating? Looking at your pay stubs, what is being withheld? You'd be shocked. I know you wouldn't be, but like, you guys, like, take a moment to think about how much and what is actually coming out of your pay stub as pre-tax withholdings for things that you're like, that over time, that stuff adds up. They're like, oh, well, it's only, $3 here, or $5 here, or $22 here, whatever. And then it's like, after years, you're like, you're paying $400 or $500 in pre-tax withholdings from payroll.
And for things you're not even using.
No,
Yeah.
no, yeah. So work through your cash flow. That's the process we're going to take you through, which is like a true extraction of all of that important data. And once again, the top line number is what you're earning, right?
All right.
They are paying you what they think you're worth, okay, and the hours that you're working. So that top number's what is yours. And oftentimes all we focus on is what we get because that we think that's what is ours. And instead of like fighting the game in between. So I think you got to go to cash flow. And then from cash flow, you got to go completely over to expenses and really begin to wash out these, what do I have? What do I need? This is what I'm making. Obviously I want to keep more of this. How do I do it? And then from cash flow, you start analyzing, protection items, insurance items. Then you go to savings. How should I invest with what I do have? Should I pay off debt? Should I be investing? It's like this. You just got to travel through this process. It's not something that can be done with one sitting. You'll overwhelm yourself. And this is why what we do is so necessary to our clients' success. It's why we get the privilege to work with the clients we work with. It's why they don't leave, right?
Yeah.
It's because they come to us after, especially this time of year, after they've completed a full year executing a plan. They're not asking the questions. They're there,
Yeah.
right? They're experiencing what they hoped to experience and what they wanted to avoid from the time they didn't have a plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I equate it to like when you go to the doctor, right? The first thing you do if you're a new patient, they want to get a baseline. Like, where are you?
Yeah.
What's your weight? What's your blood pressure? Let's get some blood work. Let's see what your cholesterol is. They just want to get. There's no diagnosis being done at that first meeting.
Yeah.
At that first appointment, they're just trying to get a baseline.
They just want to know.
Yeah. Who are you? What are you doing? Where are you? Where are you now? And then once the results come in, then they tackle it. Okay. Well, your high blood pressure. Well, you know what? It's probably because of the way you eat and your weight. So we may put you on a medication, but the medication is temporary.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get down to the root of it. So now we have to have a weight loss goal or whatever it may be, right? And so that's what we do in some
That's
aspects,
exactly what
right?
we do.
We get a baseline of where you are right now. No recommendations are being done in the first meeting, right? Because it's just like, how can you recommend something if you're not taking a step back and just really analyzing where you are? But then we're taking it piece by piece, from most important and most effective down the road. And, that level of freedom, that level of accountability is invaluable.
Yeah.
Right. It really is.
It is.
It is. And we don't, and again, we don't, there's, we talked about the podcast about the things that we don't, investors don't want to leave on the table for 26 mistakes they want to avoid. You want to avoid all of those, right? You want to avoid, I love what you said. You're looking at your pay stub and looking at the gross number and looking at your net and everything in between, right? How do we get a good sense of what's going out before it even comes to us?
Yeah.
And some of it is these employer benefits that are available to you that you may not be maximizing the way you should be maximizing it, right? We started a conversation about taxes. Well, if you're maxing out your 401k, are you not doing that? I mean, are you not even getting the match, the full match? Your HSA, if you have the ability to invest in the HSA, are you bypassing it because you hear the word health savings account and you're like, well, I really want to save for my health.
I'm healthy.
But do you realize that's if you're a family, another 8,000 plus that you can put away year after year,
and you shouldn't touch it.
Like
what are we doing? We should be absolutely max funding the, for our clients that are hovering, 24, 32%, 34% federal tax liability among state, depending on what state you live in. Like, you should be max funding your 401k, 100% tax deferred. You should be max funding your HSA. Then you should be considering if they have a post-tax non-Roth option to consider a mega backdoor Roth. You should be doing backdoor Roth contributions. And then you should be asking the question, what else in my life? Because this is a personal question. What else in my life, Andrew Moe, asset management, can I do to get back the money that I'm already having to give into the government? Is there anything in my life that's unique enough that I can leverage to reduce tax liabilities?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you show up at work every day. Like, do it.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're right. Have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Have a tax strategy. Have a systematic process to manage your cash flow as it comes in every single week, 2 weeks, bi-monthly, whatever it is. Have a systematic process to manage that flow of money so that it completely executes exactly what you want it to, whether it's spending, whether it's bills, whether it's savings, whether it's, simple things like quit paying your your homeowner's insurance and or your auto insurance or your life insurance on a monthly basis, right? If it's cheaper to pay it over a year's time, I get it. It's like, why even worry about it? It's a little bit of money because it matters.
It matters.
It's like, the alarming thing when I did my audit is, when's the last time you've slowed down enough to take time to look at the systematics, the ongoing reoccurring transactions that are because you or your kids like hit subscribe to something on their phone, right? It's $2, it's $5, it's $10, it's $7. Like, but it matters,
Yeah.
right? So,
It
and
does.
that's my point is like we don't slow down enough because we have to go generate income, but then it's like we're stuck in like this
This loop.
wheel,
Yeah.
right? We're doing it and we're like, okay, we're doing good. We're creating the cash flow. But sometimes we're creating the cash flow to pay the things that we're just not taking the time to address.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, it's no better time now.
It's no better time.
Team up, get some accountability in your life, and get a written plan put down. Get a process to execute, a map way to be in a better place.
Yeah. Yeah. Be vulnerable with yourself. Give yourself the like. I love what you said too about just put your pride away.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just put your pride away. Have that conversation with someone, whether it's your financial partner, whether it's your life partner, your spouse, whether it is a friend that you really trust that gives you good wisdom. Just you've tried something one way and it hasn't been working. And what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Mm-hmm.
If it hasn't worked in the past, right, try something different this year.
Yeah.
Right, really be intentional about having a game plan for 2026. In our industry, we're not we can't use the word guarantee, but I'm gonna try it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you that if you do this, you will be in a better position than you were this year.
Yeah.
Just by these simple tools of just being intentional, being focused, being authentic, being open, and just sticking to the plan.
Yeah,
Just
that's
stick
exactly
to it.
right.
Just stick to it.
And making sure that you have the right information, the right team to help execute. It's look, in each and every year, and I'll end it with this. Every year, the year itself provides its own opportunity. Okay? And so as you create this plan or as you hire someone to create this plan, we help you create this plan for 2026 or at the start of 2026. Obviously, we all know that 2026 in and of itself is going to provide its own experience, its own opportunities, maybe its own challenges. Part of your plan is to be successful is to be flexible to execute within those unpredictable elements of what the year will provide. The thing that comes to mind is harvesting. A lot of clients of ours are sitting over the past several years significant capital gains within their accounts, right? So once again, do you have a capital gain budget? As a wealthier individual that has the liquidity, you're sitting on significant amounts of cap gains. You're holding a lot of maybe one stock, NVIDIA, Amazon, Apple, whatever. You're thinking about, okay, I can't sell this stuff, even though I may want to buy something different because the tax is going to kill me. Do you have a harvesting strategy that you can't fully articulate the amount today, But what you can do is be prepared for when those moments happen, you can harvest,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think you and I have hit it pretty hard today. It just like the whole goal is like, man, it's Christmas season. There's so much in the season to be thankful for. There's so much to show gratitude for. Um, the purpose of life is so much more than just money and just work, but because we do work and because we do generate money, understand your purpose and your why and begin to respect it and take advantage of it for your future. It's necessary.
I love it. That's a great way to end it.
Let's end it, man. Until next week.
Until next week.